In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to solve multi-step inequalities. They follow the same rules as solving equations, except when you multiply each side by a negative number, you must flip the sign. So if you have a less than, you switch to a greater, greater, you switch to a less. When you divide each side by a negative number, you also have to flip the sign as well. Another important difference is that an equation has one solution and an inequality has many solutions, as stated right here. As a reminder too, this sign here that makes an L is going to be a less than sign, since it is facing the same way as an L would. And this sign here is going to be a greater than sign, because you could not make an L out of it. And when I mean make an L of it, I literally mean to write less with this symbol up above. Looks like an L, just like you had it. Let's go ahead and solve A and B. For example A, go ahead and subtract 1 on each side. That's the only way to move it from the left to the right side. 8 minus 1 is 7, and we're left with x divided by 3. Since it's a divided by 3, the only way to undo that is with the opposite operation, which is multiplication. So we multiply by 3 on each side. That cancels out the division of 3, giving you just x on the left. And 7 times 3 equals 21 on the right. When x equals 21, that's the only options for the solution, so we call that one solution. And again, up here, an equation has one solution. Next example B is x divided by 3 plus 1 is less than or equal to 8. So that's an inequality, but we still solve it the same way by subtracting over 1. That makes again 7 like we had before, keep the less than or equal to sign, and then we multiply by a positive 3. So no change of sign needed. We just get x is less than or equal to 21. The most important difference between example B and example A is that this one has many solutions. Some solutions, for example, would be 11 because that's less than 21. We also could put 21 because of the equal to underneath. We couldn't put like 30. That would be greater than. So we have to do any numbers below or equal to 21 as our solution. Next example C, again subtract over the 2 on each side. That cancels out on the left. We're left with negative 5x equals 30. And then we divide by negative 5 on each side because it's negative 5 multiplied to that x, so we have to do division the opposite. Cancels out on the left, and 30 divided by negative 5 is negative 6 here. X equals negative 6, and that's the only solution since it's an equation. For example D, we do the same exact steps. So we go ahead and subtract 2 on each side. That leaves me with negative 5x is greater than or equal to 32. Then we divide by a negative 5. Now, because it's an inequality and we just divided by a negative number, we have to go back and look at our notes that anytime you divide by a negative number, you must flip the sign. So I'm right away going to change this sign facing the other way as they less than or equal to here. Keep the x on the left, and we know that we get on the right 32 minus 2 is 30, so double check that. Make sure you got that down. And then we get 30 divided by negative 5, which is negative 6. So solutions are x is less than or equal to negative 6, and that's many solutions because some solutions would be negative 6 since it is equal to, as well as numbers below that, so like negative 20, negative 100 even. Those are some possible solutions, but there's many, everything below negative 6. Example E, let's go ahead and solve it. We subtract 17 on each side, leaving us canceling it out on the left side with just 7x, and on the right side we get negative 16 minus 17, which is negative 33. You divide each side by 7, and we get our answer to be x is greater than negative 33 over 7. No equal to this one, but still many solutions because it's everything above that number. So that could be 0 because that is greater than negative 33 over 7. Could be 10, 100, etc. Everything greater than negative 33 over 7 is a solution. For example, f, when we have parentheses, we must distribute the number outside to multiply both terms inside. There is 2 distributions needed. That is a negative 1 in front of the second parentheses. Think of that ninja negative 1 there. So this distribution gets me 2x minus 18 minus 3x minus 6 is less than 22. From here, when my variables are on the same side of the inequality, we're able to just combine their terms. So I can combine 2x by negative 3x to make negative 1x. I also can combine my 2 number terms, so you're combining like terms here. We just combined the x's that were alike, and I can combine my numbers that are alike. Negative 18 minus 6 is going to be a negative 24. And I keep that sign of less than. Then I add over 24 to both sides because it is being moved to the opposite side. So I do the opposite operation. I have negative 1x is less than 46. Then to get that negative 1 away from x, I must divide. And it's so important that when you divide by a negative, we go back to our beginning exception notes that you have to flip this sign here as it states in highlighted light pink. So flipping that sign, because I divided by a negative, I get x is greater than a negative 46, because 46 divided by negative 1 will make it negative 46. How many solutions? We have many because it's everything greater than negative 46. So some examples would be negative 20. We also have 0. We have 10. We have 15, etc., for our many solutions. The last case is sometimes we do have fractions and they're being distributed. This means we'll then multiply each side by the reciprocal. So we will flip the fraction. That way we're able to get rid of it and cancel it on the side it's being distributed. So let's talk about reciprocals of 1/2 here, because the 1/2 is indeed the number being distributed in front of parentheses. Well, that would be 2 over 1. That's the reciprocal. So how we go ahead and solve this now is each side of this inequality, 1/2 parentheses x plus 4 is less than or equal to 10, is now getting multiplied on each side by 2 over 1. What that does is it cancels out with the 1/2 on your left side, leaving you with just what's left in the parentheses, x plus 4. On the right side, we do 10 times 2, always apply the whole number to the numerator because whole numbers can be written over 1, and that's over 1 there. Well, 10 times 2 is 20. 20 divided by 1 here on the right side, we just simplify that down to 20. Subtract 4 on each side. That way x is all by itself, and we get our answer to be x is less than or equal to 16. So again, we have many solutions because it's an inequality. Some solutions are 16 since it's equal to 4, and negative 2 because it's everything less than or equal to 16. Example H, we have 3/4 multiplied to the whole quantity of x plus 3 is less than or equal to 9. So again, I find the reciprocal, which is just flipping the number in front of my parentheses being distributed 3/4. That would be 4 over 3 when we flip it. So I multiply by 4/3 on each side of my equation here. When I multiply by 4/3 on the left side, it cancels out with the 3/4 in front of my parentheses, leaving me with just what's in the parentheses, x plus 3. On the right side, make sure you apply the 9 to the numerator because 9 can always be written over 1. Any whole number works that way. So always apply the number to the numerator. So less than or equal to 36 over 3. Next, we simplify that 36 over 3, which is just doing 36 divided by 3. That gets you 12. And keep the left side as is because we did nothing with it. Now to move the 3 over, I must subtract 3 on each side because it's moved to the opposite side of the inequality, leaving me with x is less than or equal to 9. So x is less than or equal to 9, and that's many solutions there. Some possible numbers are 9 since it's equal to, 7 since it's less than, 0, and even negative numbers like -5 as well. Anything less than or equal to 9 is a solution.